Right now, they're at the number 4 spot. Is this a team that can rebound and start winning, racking up the W's as Peyton Manning is on a roll? Or is this team just racking up a few wins and we're getting all hyped up about the Denver Broncos?
Well, I think the Broncos are finally starting to play the way that people expected them to, with Peyton Manning being there. So, I think that they're a team, they're finally picking up steam after, a couple of poor performances, in a very winnable division. I think they're obviously the favorite, and, being in the playoffs with Peyton Manning is never a bad thing. So I think he could easily be favored against whoever he's matched up against as a team that's more than likely going to make the playoffs.
And Denver offensively is really scary coming down the stretch. And this is a team that can certainly make some hay as far as AFC teams are concerned. Really quick, just rounding out the Denver Broncos schedule after a 36-14 win over the Panthers. They're now 6-3 on the season, and right now for Denver, things are red hot in that city, in the Mile High City. To round out the schedule for the Denver Broncos, this is a 10 or 11 win team at least, seemingly, reading off the schedule. Facing the Chargers at home next, then the Chiefs on the road, Buccaneers, then the Raiders. The only tough game seemingly is the Baltimore Ravens. Then they're home to face the Browns, and then they face the worst team seemingly in the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a team that perhaps could win out, or at least win 5 of their next 7 and make their way into the number 2 seed and have a first-round bye. Might be too high on the Denver Broncos, but just saying, guys, watch out for Denver. They're 6-3, but they're playing like an undefeated football team.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team definitely playing well, and I think people expect a lot from them. They've had games where they played very well. They've had games where they played really poor, so it really depends on what team's going to show up on any given Sunday.
And Denver Broncos, seemingly one of those teams that can play every Sunday with any team in the NFL. And another team in that division that is really struggling is the San Diego Chargers. They are really having the wheels off the tracks. Phillip Rivers struggling, and that whole entire team falling off the tracks. A quick note to mention for San Diego right now, as Norv Turner in a post-game press conference just going off on a cameraman or on a press conference guy where he is saying, what do you think? What do you think is the reason for our struggles? Not the way that the coach would like to end his tenure in San Diego. Everything going off the tracks for San Diego in a 34-24 game where Tampa Bay comes out on top. Another game offensively moving over to Tampa Bay's side where they're the team that's set for the playoffs in a sense in this game. Tampa Bay with offensive playmakers all over the field, including their big-time running back. Tampa Bay still after another win. Same question, Phil. Are they set for the playoffs? Right now, they're riding hot at 5-4.
Well, I think the Bucs may be a little, are in a very tough division. To start off, you got the Saints playing a lot better, the Falcons, and, the Panthers obviously coming up the tail end. But, the NFC, I think it's a little bit trickier to get in there if you don't have a little bit better record. But regardless, this is a team that's being fun to watch, especially with the emergence of Doug Martin in recent weeks.
And certainly that running back will contend with one of the top teams in the NFL. Real quick, I want to get to Gavin Hill, who was indeed trying to get his chime in on the show. Here's Gavin Hill on the Chargers situation here after a 34-24 loss, another big-time defeat for San Diego.
I believe I believe they're going to beat the Broncos 34-28. Phillip Rivers is a very accurate quarterback, and he's got good guys, Robert Meacham, Denario Alexander, and I'm hoping that he can beat Peyton Manning and the Broncos.
Next week, the San Diego Chargers play the Denver Broncos in seemingly a must-win game for San Diego. Buccaneers on better tracks, including their rookie running back that's really making some headlines, not just running the football, but also Tampa Bay has got his running back a new nickname. The Tampa Bay running back, Doug Martin, blasting onto the scene. And Phil, a nickname that could indeed make some sort of a countdown later on tonight.
Yeah, I got to say, one of my more when I first heard this, I immediately contacted Nick because I thought it was, hilarious and awesome at the same time. The nickname they gave him is Muscle Hamster, and I don't know that there's a nickname out there that better symbolizes at least a physical appearance of somebody because he just looks like a muscular hamster. He really does when he's out there running, catching the ball, and it's a brand new name. I really hope it was given to him by Gene Deckeroff, who is the broadcast person for Tampa Bay Radio, which I first heard of it when I was driving in my car, listening to Tampa Bay Radio on my way to work. So I thought it was incredible. I really hope it sticks, and then maybe it'll jump into the list that we have coming up here in a little bit.
Doug Martin, 5'9", 215, out of Boise State. Doesn't that sound like a muscular hamster, Phil? That's just, he's a guy that's built with the same kind of stature as a guy, a Ray Rice kind of stature, maybe a Maurice Jones-Drew. A downhill pounder, 5 yards a carry. We're talking seasonal stats for Doug Martin as well. He's not a rookie, ladies and gentlemen. It does indeed say that he is a first-year running back, but Doug Martin is playing like an all-time veteran, and things are seemingly going all too good for this rookie running back. Now, don't want to get too high on a rookie, a guy that can carry the football, but after a big-time win against the Oakland Raiders where he put up 250 in the ground game, a very average performance here as well. But the muscle hamster does indeed have his Tampa Bay squad set for another trip to the playoffs. Right now they're 5-4 in that division.
Yeah, I mean, this team, they're obviously playing better than they did last year when they had a lot of high hopes, but really I think you're slowly going to see Doug Martin, be the star of this team. Josh Freeman, very capable quarterback. I think the biggest thing holding them back is just that tough division that they play in. But, things are definitely looking up, and there's definitely people out in Tampa that are pretty optimistic about these Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay 5-4 on the year, and Doug Martin, a.k.a. known as the Muscular Hamster, will kickstart our countdown. We had, before the week, we thought of a top 5 list for the top nicknames in the NFL today. A very interesting countdown that includes a variety of players that does indeed make an impact on the field. But also, to kick off our countdown, we'll take a look at the top 5 names that did not make the countdown. Here we go with a list of the top 5 nicknames in the NFL.
The nicknames that almost made the top 5 countdown.
Well, we have a few of these here that I just couldn't put in the top 5, but a lot of people know him. He went down earlier today, but he's known by this. Big Ben Roethlisberger, a 2-time Super Bowl winning quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, otherwise known as Big Ben. Another one that's very popular for most people, all day Adrian Peterson, another guy that we talked about earlier today. Just able to move the pocket, short stature, big legs, powerful running back. Another powerful running back would jump in there, would be from Jacksonville, who's injured right now, but similar to Doug Martin with the nickname of the Pocket Hercules, just being able to move the pile, similar to Doug Martin, which I think that's kind of where they based the name off of. Another guy that almost made the list, not really called by this much anymore, which is why I didn't throw it in there. The Tasmanian Devil, safety for Pittsburgh Steelers, Troy Polamalu.
Number 5.
Number 5, we got to go with quarterback on this one. You always want your quarterback to be clutch, and no nickname personifies that more than Matt Ryan as Matty Ice. Here's a guy who's led his team to over 12 fourth quarter or overtime comeback victories in his short career. Matty Ice comes in at number 5.
Number 4.
Number 4 goes to the Madden cover boy himself, Megatron Calvin Johnson of the Detroit Lions. Here's a guy with superhuman-like ability to jump up and get the ball, playing like a superhero oftentimes, which is why his nickname is based off of one.
Number 3.
Number 3 goes to someone with many nicknames, but this one I like the most. The Windy City Flyer, known as Devin Hester, with his explosive ability in the return game, otherwise known as Anytime, because at any time he can take one back to the house for 6.
Number 2.
Most people would consider this one number 1. Now Cincinnati Bengals running back, former Patriots running back, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, known as a law firm, obviously a play on words due to his last name, sounding like a law firm. He comes in at number 2.
And the top nickname in the NFL today.
Number one's got to go with someone who was nicknamed straight from the great John Gruden of the Monday Night Football cast, Michael Vick, jumping in with the nickname Starship 7. He gave him this nickname back when he was coach of the Buccaneers and had to play Michael Vick twice a year. And it was the only thing he said, and I quote, that I could think of to match his ability to make him sound like the superhero that he often played like.
And as long as Starship 7 keeps the football in his hands, he is certainly a Superman as far as Philadelphia is concerned in that city. He rounds out the top 5 countdown that certainly had some big-time names on the list. I don't know if you want to have the muscular hamster on the list yet because it's still a new nickname in the NFL, but certainly he's getting his money's worth as far as notoriety as this rookie running back is the best running back as far as rookies are concerned, if not the best rookie in the NFL this year. We'll have to wait and see what the rest of America thinks as far as rookies are concerned. We'll have a Monday night update, the last one of the night as we're rounding out the NFL goal line here. The city or the Pittsburgh game between the Chiefs and those Steelers. Phil, what do you have?
Well, as of right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are leading 13-10, but Kansas City is driving, almost connected on a big pass play. Byron Leftwich is still in the game. I'm assuming that Ben Roethlisberger is not going to enter. I was not able to gain any injury update on him during the show, but it looks like Byron Leftwich is going to have to try and attempt to close this one out against the feisty Chiefs.
The Chiefs are giving them all that they have. 13-10 your score there with under 12 minutes remaining in that final quarter. Rounding out the scores for week number 10 include the Colts over the Jaguars in a big-time game, 27-10 your final. Andrew Luck and the Colts move on with another win. Baltimore Ravens racking up 55 over the Raiders. Some guys say that they were pouring it on. The Baltimore Ravens were. We'll have to wait and see if indeed the Ravens are a playoff team or a team that is rounding out slow down the stretch. Broncos in a big-time win, 36-14 your final. Denver moves on, a hot team in the AFC. Cincinnati, hot yet again after a 3-game skid. We'll have to wait and see if they are a playoff team. They're playing as one right now. Tennessee over the Dolphins, 37-3. What to make of Miami's slow game in this one? Miami's one of the worst teams in the NFL talent-wise. Minnesota over the Detroit Lions by 10. As far as the New England Patriots are concerned, they would have liked to have that easy of a win. It was a tough game between the Bills, 37-31 your final. Saints end the perfect season of the Atlanta Falcons, 31-27 your final. Bucks 10-point shellacking over the Chargers, and an even bigger upset as the Seattle Seahawks all over the Jets, 28-7 your final. Dallas Cowboys in an NFC East match take care of the Eagles, 38-23 your final. Cowboys now 4-5. Our first tie in the NFL this year, and for the past 25 years, all the tie games in the NFL have come in mid-October. Just an interesting stat there. Niners and the Rams tie at 24 in San Francisco. Texans over the Chicago Bears, 13-6 your final. Still the best team record-wise in the AFC. And Phil, rounding out the NFL goal line, next week it's the Niners and the Bears. Who do you have as far as winner, and if any of these quarterbacks will make their appearance next Monday night in a big-time game?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It depends on who's under center for each team. You know, we could have Alex Smith versus Jason Campbell. We could have, any of these combinations. It's really going to have to depend on who's healthy and who's not. Jay Cutler, Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick, they all got to be ready because you're not exactly sure what's going to happen. So really, it's just going to depend. I would probably have to put a little more on Jason Campbell if it comes down to the battle of the backups, just because he has had more experience in the NFL. But, Colin Kaepernick in his second year has definitely plugged into this offense quite well and has played pretty well. So I think it's a game that's it could be very exciting, and I'm excited to see it regardless of who's playing.
My favorite portion of the NFL goal line is indeed the game balls, as we give them out after every production here on Spreaker.com. And for my selection, I would have gone with the running back from Minnesota all day, every day, Adrian Peterson, putting up 175. But I'm going to go with the guy that played a more uptight defense that can stop the pass, and that is the New York Giants. They could not contain the great Andrew